right, we are back on the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. Super excited for this conversation. I'm being joined by Bill Furlong, who's an executive in residence at the Ivy Business School, co-founder with Mary Crosman of Leader Character Associates Incorporated, and founder and co-host with Mary Crosman on the Question of Character podcast. And I go on and on with the bio. Most importantly, super excited to be joined by Bill Furlong. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Shalom. I'm delighted to be here.
Absolutely. We're going to talk all about the roadmap for transforming leadership in the 21st century because, everybody, all of our listeners, regardless of their background, regardless of their industry, is looking for a powerful and practical framework to help bring about transformational change, certainly in this new year. Very, very relevant timing over here. Bill, I know you are the co-author of The Character Compass, which is not only a book, it's a roadmap for implementing leader character in all sorts of areas, which I'm excited to talk about. So, Bill, tell our listeners what you want them to know about you and your background, why you're so passionate about this idea of character.
So my background is I spent maybe 40 years across small, medium, and large size organizations, for-profit, not-for-profit, and a regulator, entry-level to a senior executive to a board, frontline to back office. And I returned post-career to the Ivy Business School as an executive in residence. And the reason I'm so excited, Shalom, about leader character is I've witnessed and seen both personally and through others the absolute transformational change that it can make in people, both individually and in their teams and in their organizations, and also personally. Because you've got one character and it crosses over from your work life into your personal life, and it's the possibilities for transformational change are enormous.
So true. So leader character, obviously super important. We follow the news. We see names. We hear about leaders. So, really, Bill, I have to ask, can the character of leaders be assessed and developed?
The answer is, Shalom, is absolutely yes. I think the starting point for this work actually came out of the global financial crisis in 2008. When my colleagues went around the world and asked people, what went wrong? And one answer that kept on coming back was character. There was an absence of character in financial institutions across the world. And then so Mary and the other researchers said, so what do you mean by character? And they got a ton of different answers. It was sort of regarded as something which is being very subjective. And so the challenge that Mary and Gerard and other researchers took on at Ivy was, okay, we're going to define character, what it means, and then we're going to actually find ways to assess it and ways to develop it. So it's gone from something which people kind of consider as, everyone thinks character is important, but it's largely subjective. And it's gone from really that to something which we can actually now define it, we can observe it. It's based on science. It's not just someone's idea. It's not Mary and Gerard's idea of what we think is character. It's actually rooted in science, rooted in academic rigor. And they've, over the course of time, they and I have gone around developing these different ideas and concepts to make that accessible to leaders everywhere.
I'm chatting with the co-author of The Character Compass. It was published just a few months ago in late 2023. And Bill, I know you talk a lot about the 3 C's, which are competencies, commitment, and character. No surprise that the character word is in there. So, again, as we alluded to in the show intro, we've got all sorts of listeners on this program, big businesses, small businesses. How important is character to an organization's culture?
So I think it's important. It's fundamental to the culture. And indeed, when you think about culture, what you're really thinking about, culture is really just the aggregate of the behaviors of all of the people that sit inside an organization. And so, depends upon the aggregate of the character of the people that are in the organization. And so then you ask yourself, okay, well, where does that come from? Where do those behaviors? Because that's really all we're talking about, right? We're talking about habits of behavior. Where do they come from? And organizations really make this attempt of we'll have some sort of we'll have a character statement. We'll have town hall sessions. We'll tell people what it is that we want. But there's oftentimes that runs into trouble because words can be ambiguous. Actions can speak louder than words. And so a lot of the times what happens in organizations is that although people start off with good intentions and what they hope to be, the character of the organization just largely becomes this sort of random walk. Well, maybe random walk's the wrong word, but it starts to develop in the way that just the organization loses control over the narrative. And you also start to see sub-character or sub-localities or subgroups start to develop, cultures of their own. And so what we think we bring and have observed that we bring is we bring an accessible language, one that can be widely understood, a language that crosses, because the work of character crosses contexts, it crosses cultures, it crosses time. So it becomes this constant type of language that people can use to rely upon to guide the culture of the organization.
Amazing. I don't want to give away all the secrets because you have a lot of them in your book. It's called The Character Compass, Transforming Leadership for the 21st Century. So Bill, just as a homework assignment for our listeners, I want to make sure we direct our listeners, get in touch with you, and of course, find the book. How can they do that?
So the book is available really anywhere you buy your books. So Amazon, for example, Routledge is the publisher. So ROUTELEDGE. The book is available through them. Really any sort of online outlet that you use. Leader Character Associates, Mary and I have put up a website, leadercharacterassociates.com, and you can reach out to us there. And then also the Ivy Business School. So I would go to ivy.uwo.ca/leadership. And there you'll find all of the resources and all of the research that's been done over the last 15 years.
Fantastic. We'll link in the show notes. Thank you so much, Bill Furlong. Quick break. We'll be right back.